And what I believe that Jesus was teaching in that miracle, and John included it, was that Jesus is still working. He never quit. When it says that God created on 6 days and rested on the seventh, just meant He stopped, and God's work is still going on, and so is Jesus' work. It never stopped. I think that's what He was saying in the third miracle. And in the fourth one that John includes was the feeding of the 5,000, and we had that today in class. And John takes that and includes the teaching that Jesus gave about I am the bread of life. Bread was the staple of their diets. And Jesus went ahead and said, I am the bread of life. Remember when Moses was there in the wilderness and there was the burning bush, and Moses asked God who you are, and God said, I am that I am. And Jesus said, I am the bread of life. Oh, those Jews knew, the Jewish leaders knew that Jesus was saying, I am God. I am the bread of life. And He goes ahead in that teaching there regarding after that miracle and talks about how important He is for us. He is the staple in our lives so far as His sacrifice, so far as His working in our lives. Well, then He walked on the water. And He taught that He had power over nature. He'd been doing that when He fed the 5,000, but here He is walking on the water, went out to the boat, and He showed that He has power over nature. I could have used Him the other evening. Lord, I don't want that to happen again. Please stop that lightning from striking the tree next door. Oh no, I'm still alive after all that. And then, He healed the man born blind. And after that He said, I'm the light of the world. I am the light of the world. He used that phrase again. I am the light of the world. What would we do without light? What would we do without the sun coming up? And all of that. And the last miracle, you know what it is in the Gospel of John? Lazarus dies. Jesus waits some days. He gets a message, Lazarus is sick, he's waiting. He goes down to Bethany, and Lazarus is already entombed. He's buried. And Jesus gets there. I like what one commentator said. Jesus wept. He went out there, and he's crying because Martha and Mary, the Lazarus sisters, are mourning. And he goes out there, and he cries, and he says, roll the stone away. And he says, Lazarus, come forth. Somebody said if he hadn't said Lazarus, the whole cemetery would have emptied. I like that. You know it? Lazarus, come forth. Here comes Lazarus. He's all bound up in these grave clothes. Everybody was running, including me. This guy came back to life. And Jesus demonstrated His power over death. And that's wonderful, because what is your and my greatest enemy, I think, is death. I don't want to die. Well, I mean, heaven would be great, but I don't like pain. And I want to see Anna and Becca grow up yet, my grandkids. And I want to see what happens to you, all of you. You know, stories about our lives. I want to see that. But you know, Jesus demonstrated that He had power over death, and He showed it that day. And that's why John included the story of the raising of Lazarus. See, every miracle that John included had something about Jesus. And I thought, when I was preparing this sermon, wow, Jesus has power to help us daily in all of these different ways. He showed, I could go back over these miracles, and that's what John was showing, that Jesus could bless us in all these different ways, you see. All the miracles that he included showed who Jesus was and what He could do. He can help us daily. He has power to save you and me. You know, He faced death and came to life. You and I face death too someday, unless Jesus comes back. But we have the promise of life, don't we? I'll tell you, that's so very, very important, that we have the promise of life. This is no fiction story. It's no Star Wars movie. You know, I like those. Is the third one coming or fourth one coming out? I hope. I'll tell you anyway. And this is no Lost series. How many of you followed that? I saw a little bit of it on television. Weird thing. Weird thing. This is no Lost series, no fiction. This is reality, you know. This is reality. And he never changes in his purpose. His purpose in all that he has done and is doing is to win you to him. To win you to him. Every sermon Roger ever preaches, he comes to an invitation. We need to do that. You see, where are you? Now, in a big church, if they have like 1,000 people, I suppose at this point somebody crawls under the pew or starts going like this, you know. We can't escape the fact that each one of us in our heart knows where we are with Jesus, don't we? Is Jesus your Savior this morning? It comes down to each one of us personally. Is Jesus your Savior? We have a great promise in 1 Corinthians 15. Of course, the Apostle Paul is talking about the resurrection. He says we will be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. And we need that hope. I pray that you have that hope. You know, you may be poised between heaven and hell this morning. You need to know, you need to be able to remember when you claim Jesus as your Savior. This morning, you have that opportunity. If you want to step out, if you believe in Jesus and you're sorry for past sins and you want to live for Christ, be baptized in Him. Let Him help you live the Christian life. He doesn't change. He's always been the same. He'll not leave you, but He wants to be your Savior. We're going to be standing as we sing and give you an opportunity. You know what I've always said? If you're already a Christian and you'd like to work and worship with us here at Center, we'd welcome you this morning. If you'd like to be a member here, or if you need to be baptized, hey, come ahead. The Lord's waiting. He's ready. Let's stand as we sing.